I've led teams of hundreds through technology shifts. The technology is never the hard part. Here's the moment I knew something fundamental had changed. Normal Tuesday morning, driving my kids to school, they're in the back seat inventing some game that makes zero sense to anyone over the age of 9. Then my 8-year-old goes quiet for a second and asks a question with that blunt, unfiltered delivery only kids have. The question sits there between us, uncomfortable, heavy. And here's what hit me in that moment. While my kids are in the back seat wondering what their future looks like, the answer is being decided right now. Not by them, by adults. In rooms with whiteboards and quarterly planning cycles. This isn't some distant sci-fi debate. The future of work, of human agency, of what intelligence even means, is being shaped in budget meetings happening this week. So let's talk about who's actually making these decisions, because most of them didn't ask for the job. Here's the cosmic joke. While we're all debating what AI means for the future, there's a generation quietly running the whole show, and nobody saw them coming. Boomers still hold most of the wealth. They control the boards. Millennials and Gen Z make up the bulk of the workforce. Digital natives, comfortable with AI, adapting fast. But look who's actually in charge. The average S&P 500 CEO right now is 58 years old. Peak Gen X. The cynical slacker generation, the one that was supposed to coast in the shadow of the boomers, is the one deciding AI budgets, designing deployment strategies, choosing whether to augment or replace workers. Generation X is driving the bus at the exact moment humanity rewrites its operating system. They didn't ask for this, but history handed it to them anyway. Here's the number that should terrify every board still debating whether AI is a priority. 78%. That's enterprise AI adoption right now. 1 year ago, it was 55%. The global economy just rewired itself in 12 months, and most organizations are still workshopping the strategy deck. Gen X didn't just inherit the decision, they inherited the deadline. And the money behind this, $632 billion by 2028. That's projected enterprise AI spend. This isn't R&D, this isn't experimentation. This is infrastructure, core systems, the kind of capital deployment that doesn't reverse. The budget isn't debating whether anymore, it's already deployed. The number that stopped me cold, 50%. Half of all code being written right now is generated by AI, not assisted. Generated. Think about that. The people making decisions today, your Nadellas, your Pichais, both Gen X by the way, aren't just shipping quarterly features. They're encoding patterns, behavioral defaults, architectural assumptions, and code doesn't retire. It compounds. The decisions being made in this 12-month window will fossilize into the infrastructure every system runs on for the next 30 years. That's not a product roadmap. That's generational lock-in. Here's what makes Gen X the right generation at the wrong time. They translate. On one side of the table, board members who still remember installing Windows 95. Gen X speaks that language. They can explain why this isn't Y2K, why generative AI isn't a compliance checklist you tick and forget. On the other side, 28-year-old engineers talking about alignment and safety like it's life or death. Because it is. Gen X gets both rooms. They grew up analog, went digital. And now they're the ones explaining to the board why the kids aren't being dramatic, while explaining to the kids why the board isn't moving faster. Nobody else can do that job. The question is whether they'll do it in time. They can bridge this gap because they lived both worlds. Gen X is the last generation that remembers life before the internet. Card catalogs, paper maps you could never refold, the absolute terror of calling a girl's house and having her dad pick up first. Then they built their careers executing digital transformation. Most of them wrote code. Some of them still do. So when they look at AI, they see both sides clearly. They understand what we gain. Speed, scale, capability we've never had. And they understand what we lose. The stuff that doesn't show up in a business case. That dual vision, it's rare. And right now, it's the only thing keeping the conversation honest. I've pitched ideas to rooms that didn't want to hear them. That teaches you something about timing. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. We don't have forever to figure this out. There's a window, only about 1,000 days, where the foundational patterns of AI are still being set. The architecture, the defaults, the behavioral expectations baked into every system. After that, the cement hardens. The choices stop being choices and start being constraints we inherit for the next 30 years. Most organizations are still finalizing the steering committee. Let's get specific. These aren't theoretical questions. They're procurement decisions happening this quarter. locking in assumptions about what humans are worth. Healthcare. Are we buying AI to empower doctors or just to cut labor costs? Education. Is it a tutor that helps students learn or a substitute teacher with no pulse? Governance. Does AI inform policymakers or does it become the policymaker? And defense, the stakes get existential fast. Do we keep humans in the loop or do we let the algorithm decide who lives? These aren't philosophy seminars. These are line items in budgets being approved right now. The irony is brutal. While my kids are in the back seat inventing games that make no sense, decisions are being made that will define what agency they have left. And the consequences? Already here. Algorithmic bias isn't a future risk. It's deployed. Surveillance systems are expanding faster than oversight. AI-powered weapons are operational. We're not debating a dystopian scenario. We're managing a present crisis. And the people making these calls? They didn't sign up to architect the fate of human autonomy, but here we are. Gen X needs to care. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Generation X built its identity on not caring. Ironic detachment, whatever. That worked fine when the stakes were low, but you can't shrug your way through rewriting humanity's source code. The generation that made an art form out of cynicism now has to do something it's never been good at. Give a damn. Out loud, without the safety of sarcasm. Because detachment doesn't design systems that serve people. It just signs off on systems designed by someone else. So what does rising to the moment actually look like? It means bringing hard-won pragmatism straight into AI deployment. It means bridging that understanding gap between board members who remember installing Windows and engineers talking about alignment like it's existential, because it is. It means using that trademark cynicism not to detach, but to see through the hype and ship reality. And here's the part that matters most. Democratizing intelligence instead of concentrating it in the hands of a few monopolies. Building systems that amplify human potential, not optimize it away. Which brings us back to that 8-year-old in the back seat. Her future is being written right now, in Python, in procurement, in policies drafted by exactly this generation. Every generation faces challenges. Sure, but not every generation gets to architect intelligence itself. So here's the final question. Are we looking at the most important generation in history, or just another cohort that happened to be in the room when it mattered? More importantly, what are you going to do with your 1,000 days? If you want to stay ahead of this curve, follow for more.